First contact and false assumptions. The massive alien vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek silver hull gleaming in the afternoon sunlight. As it touched down on the carefully prepared landing zone outside the United Nations headquarters in New York, a hush fell over the assembled crowd of dignitaries, journalists, and curious onlookers. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood at the forefront of the welcoming committee, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. After years of deep space signals and careful negotiations, humanity was about to make first contact with an advanced alien civilization. The ship's seamless hull shimmered, and a doorway materialized as if by magic. 3 figures emerged, each tall and willowy with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Their large, almond-shaped eyes blinked slowly as they took in their surroundings. The alien in the lead, clearly the leader of the delegation, stepped forward with a graceful motion. "Greetings, people of Earth," it said in perfect, unaccented English. "I am Zar Tol, ambassador of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and friendship." Elena stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Zar Tol. I am Elena Rodriguez, representing the United Nations and the people of Earth. We are honored by your presence and look forward to fostering a relationship between our worlds." As the formal greetings concluded, Elena led the alien delegation into the UN building for the official welcoming ceremony. She couldn't help but notice the slightly bemused expressions on the aliens' faces as they looked around. During a brief recess, Elena overheard a conversation between 2 of the alien delegates. Their universal translators were still active, allowing her to understand their words. "This world seems quaint," one alien said, its tone slightly condescending. "I expected more from a species that managed to attract our attention." The other alien nodded in agreement. "Indeed, their technology is primitive, their cities unremarkable. I see no evidence of the Deathworld classification," some of our more dramatic colleagues suggested. Elena felt a twinge of annoyance, but kept her diplomatic composure. She knew that Earth had much more to offer than these aliens realized. An idea began to form in her mind. As the talks resumed, Elena made a proposal. "Ambassador Zar Tol, we would be honored to show you more of our world, perhaps a tour of some of Earth's most remarkable features." Zar Tol inclined its head graciously. "We would be pleased to accept your offer. Ambassador Rodriguez, what did you have in mind?" Elena smiled. "I thought we might start with a visit to one of our oceans. The Earth is primarily a water world after all, and our oceans hold many wonders." The aliens exchanged glances, clearly unimpressed. "Very well," Zar Tol said. "Though I must admit, we have seen many ocean worlds in our travels. They tend to be rather uneventful." The next day, Elena and a small team of human scientists accompanied the alien delegation to a research vessel off the coast of Hawaii. As they stood on the deck, gazing out at the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, Elena could sense the aliens' lack of enthusiasm. "It is blue," one of the aliens observed flatly. Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka, a renowned marine biologist, stepped forward. "What you see on the surface is just the beginning," he said with a knowing smile. "The true wonders lie beneath." He led them to a sophisticated submersible docked alongside the research vessel. "This will take us into the depths," Dr. Tanaka explained. "We'll be able to observe marine life in its natural habitat." The aliens looked skeptical, but followed the humans into the submersible. As they descended into the darker waters, the alien delegates began to show signs of interest despite themselves. Schools of colorful fish darted past the viewports. A pod of dolphins playfully swam alongside the submersible for a time, their clicks and whistles audible through the hull. "Fascinating," Zar Tol murmured. "These creatures seem quite intelligent." "Oh, they are," Dr. Tanaka confirmed. "Dolphins are among the most intelligent non-human species on our planet, but they're far from the most remarkable creatures we'll encounter." As they descended deeper, the aliens' eyes widened at the sight of a massive whale shark gliding serenely past their vessel. "By the stars, One of the aliens gasped. The size of that creature. How does your planet support life forms of such magnitude? Elena smiled. Earth's oceans are full of surprises, Ambassador. And we've only just begun our journey. The submersible continued its descent, the light from the surface fading as they entered the twilight zone. Strange, bioluminescent creatures drifted past, their lights pulsing in mesmerizing patterns. These organisms, Zartul said, pressing a slender hand against the viewport. They generate their own light. Dr. Tanaka nodded. Bioluminescence is common in the deep ocean. It's used for communication, attracting prey, and sometimes as a defense mechanism. One of the other aliens turned to Elena, its expression thoughtful. Ambassador Rodriguez, I must admit, we may have been hasty in our initial assessment of your world. These oceans of yours are far more diverse and complex than we anticipated. Elena nodded graciously, but she knew the real show was yet to come. As the submersible reached the abyssal zone, the alien delegates fell silent, their large eyes taking in the bizarre and sometimes terrifying creatures that called the deep ocean home. Viperfish with needle-like teeth, giant isopods scuttling across the ocean floor, and ghostly Dumbo octopuses drifting by all elicited sounds of wonder and, occasionally, alarm from the alien visitors. How do your people survive in such an environment? Zartul asked, a new note of respect in its voice. We adapt, Elena replied simply. Humanity has always been driven to explore, to push our boundaries. The ocean is just one of the extreme environments we've learned to navigate. As if to punctuate her words, the submersible sensors began to ping urgently. Dr. Tanaka leaned forward, studying the readouts with excitement. We're in luck, he announced. There's a hydrothermal vent field nearby. If we're fortunate, we might witness something truly remarkable. The submersible carefully maneuvered through the darkness, its lights illuminating a landscape that seemed more alien than anything the extraterrestrial visitors had yet encountered on Earth. Chimney-like structures rose from the ocean floor, spewing superheated water rich in minerals. These vents support entire ecosystems, Dr. Tanaka explained. Life here thrives on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis. It's a glimpse into how life might exist on other worlds. The aliens were silent, their earlier skepticism completely evaporated. They watched in awe as communities of tube worms, ghost white crabs, and other vent-dwelling creatures went about their lives in this extreme environment. Suddenly, a shadow passed overhead. The aliens gasped as an enormous form moved through the water above them. What is that? Zartul asked, a tremor in its usually composed voice. Elena leaned forward, her eyes widening. That, Ambassador, is a giant squid, one of the most elusive and mysterious creatures in our oceans. Even we humans have rarely seen them in their natural habitat. The squid, easily as long as their submersible, drifted lazily above them. Its huge eye, the size of a dinner plate, seemed to study them with an alien intelligence of its own. Incredible, Zartul breathed. Truly, your world is full of wonders we never imagined. As the submersible began its ascent back to the surface, the mood among the alien delegates had changed dramatically. Gone was the condescension and boredom. Instead, they bubbled with questions, eager to learn more about Earth's oceans and the life they contained. Ambassador Rodriguez, Zartul said as they neared the surface, I must apologize for our earlier misconceptions. We have visited many worlds in our travels, but few have surprised us as yours has. I believe we have much to learn from Earth and its people. Elena smiled, feeling a surge of pride in her home planet. Thank you, Ambassador. We look forward to sharing more of our world with you, and perhaps to learning about the wonders your own worlds hold. As the submersible broke the surface and the bright sunlight flooded in, Elena knew that this was just the beginning. The aliens had seen only a fraction of what Earth had to offer, and she looked forward to challenging more of their assumptions in the days to come. The research vessel came into view, bobbing on the waves under the clear blue sky. But now, as the alien delegates gazed out at the seemingly peaceful ocean, Elena could see a new respect in their eyes. They had glimpsed the wonders and terrors that lurked beneath the waves, and they would never look at Earth the same way again. As they climbed aboard the research vessel, Zartol turned to Elena. "Tell me, Ambassador," it said, its voice filled with newfound curiosity, "what other surprises does your world have in store for us?" Elena's eyes twinkled with mischief and pride. "Oh, Ambassador," she replied, "we're just getting started." Descent into the abyss. The research vessel gently rocked on the waves as Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood on the deck, watching the alien delegates. Their demeanor had changed dramatically since their first submersible expedition. Gone was the air of condescension. In its place, a palpable excitement tinged with nervous anticipation. Zartol approached Elena, its iridescent skin shimmering in the morning sunlight. "Ambassador Rodriguez, we are eager to continue our exploration of your oceans. What wonders do you have in store for us today?" Elena smiled, a glint of adventure in her eyes. "Today, Ambassador, we go deeper, much deeper." Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka joined them, carrying a holographic projector. He activated it, displaying a three-dimensional map of the ocean floor. "We're currently positioned above the Mariana Trench," he explained. "It's the deepest known part of Earth's oceans, reaching depths of over 11,000 meters. The aliens' eyes widened, their pupils dilating in what Elena had come to recognize as an expression of awe. 11,000 meters. One of the delegates whispered, "The pressure at such depths must be immense." "Indeed it is," Dr. Tanaka confirmed. "At the bottom of the trench, the pressure is more than 1,000 times greater than at sea level. Few creatures can survive in such an environment." Zartol turned to Elena, its voice filled with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "And you intend for us to visit these depths?" Elena nodded. "We've prepared a special deep-sea submersible for this expedition. It's designed to withstand the extreme pressures of the Hadal Zone. I assure you, Ambassador, it's perfectly safe." As they boarded the submersible, Elena couldn't help but notice the nervous glances exchanged between the alien delegates. She felt a twinge of satisfaction. It was a far cry from their initial dismissive attitude towards Earth. The descent began slowly, the light from the surface gradually fading as they sank into the abyss. The alien delegates pressed close to the viewports, their large eyes straining to catch glimpses of the strange creatures that called these depths home. At around 1,000 meters, they encountered their first major surprise. A massive shape loomed out of the darkness, tentacles writhing in the beams of the submersible's lights. "Architeuthis ducks," Dr. Tanaka announced proudly. "The giant squid. This one appears to be a mature female, probably about 12 meters long." The aliens watched in fascinated horror as the squid regarded their vessel with an enormous intelligent eye. Its tentacles brushed against the hull, causing a shudder to run through the submersible. "Are we in danger?" one of the delegates asked, its voice quavering. "Not at all," Elena assured them. "The submersible is far too large for the squid to consider as prey. It's merely curious." As they continued their descent, the alien delegates peppered Dr. Tanaka with questions about the creatures they encountered. Lanternfish with their bioluminescent displays, vampire squid trailing ghostly tendrils, and bizarre anglerfish with their glowing lures all elicited sounds of wonder and, occasionally, revulsion from the extraterrestrial visitors. At 4,000 meters, they encountered a sight that left even Dr. Tanaka speechless. A massive shape moved through the darkness, easily dwarfing their submersible. "Impossible," Dr. Tanaka muttered, frantically checking his instruments. "It can't be." "What is it?" Zartol demanded, pressing against the viewport to get a better look. Elena's voice was hushed with awe. "If I'm not mistaken, that's a megalodon, a prehistoric shark that was thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago." The enormous shark, easily 20 meters in length, circled their submersible lazily. Its ancient eyes regarded them with cold curiosity, rows of serrated teeth visible in its slightly open mouth. But how? One of the alien delegates asked. How could such a creature survive unknown for so long? Dr. Tanaka shook his head in disbelief. The deep ocean is still largely unexplored. There are portions of the Hadal Zone that have never been seen by human eyes. It's possible that small populations of megalodon survived in these depths, adapting to the extreme conditions over millions of years. The megalodon suddenly darted forward, bumping the submersible with its snout. The vessel rocked violently, alarms blaring as the crew fought to stabilize it. It's testing us, Elena realized aloud, trying to determine if we're prey. For several tense minutes, the prehistoric predator continued to investigate the submersible, each impact threatening to breach the hull. The alien delegates huddled together, their earlier bravado completely evaporated in the face of this ancient terror. Finally, apparently deciding that the submersible was neither prey nor threat, the megalodon lost interest. With a powerful sweep of its tail, it disappeared back into the darkness. As the crew worked to check for damage, Elena turned to the shaken alien delegates. "Are you all right?" she asked, genuine concern in her voice. Zartol nodded slowly, its large eyes still wide with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. "We are unharmed, Ambassador, but I must confess, we were unprepared for the sheer scale of the predators in your oceans. How do your people contend with such dangers?" Elena smiled grimly. "Humanity has always faced challenges, Ambassador. Whether it's the depths of the ocean, the vacuum of space, or the threat of our own extinction, we've learned to adapt and overcome. It's part of what defines us as a species." The submersible continued its descent, the hull creaking under the immense pressure. At 6,000 meters, they encountered a hydrothermal vent field that dwarfed the one they had seen on their previous expedition. "The Hadal Seascape," Dr. Tanaka announced, "one of the most extreme environments on Earth." The alien delegates watched in awe as entire ecosystems thrived around the superheated vents. Swarms of blind shrimp carpeted the rocks, while ghost-pale octopuses glided between chimney-like structures belching superheated water. The water around these vents can reach temperatures of over 400 degrees Celsius, Dr. Tanaka explained. Yet life finds a way to thrive even here. One of the alien delegates turned to Elena, its voice filled with newfound respect. "Ambassador, I must admit, we severely underestimated your world. The diversity and resilience of life here. It's unlike anything we've encountered in our travels." Elena nodded, a surge of pride welling up inside her. "Earth has challenged life to adapt to every extreme, Ambassador. From the deepest oceans to the highest mountains, from frozen tundras to scorching deserts, and humanity, born of this crucible, has inherited that same drive to adapt and overcome." As the submersible began its ascent back to the surface, the mood among the alien delegates was markedly different from the start of their journey. Gone was any trace of condescension or superiority. Instead, they huddled together, discussing in hushed tones the implications of what they had witnessed. Zartol approached Elena as the first glimmers of sunlight began to penetrate the darkness above. "Ambassador Rodriguez," it said, its voice solemn, "I believe we owe you and your people an apology. We came to Earth expecting a mundane world of little consequence. Instead, we have found a planet of wonders and terrors beyond our imagining." Elena smiled, but before she could respond, a proximity alarm blared through the submersible. Dr. Tanaka rushed to the sensor readouts, his face paling. "We've got multiple large contacts approaching rapidly from below," he announced, his voice tense. "Whatever they are, they're big, and they're fast." The alien delegates crowded around the viewports, straining to see into the darkness below. Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she caught a glimpse of something massive moving in the gloom. "It seems," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady, "that our journey into Earth's abyss isn't quite over yet." As the unknown entities drew closer, their massive forms becoming clearer in the submersible's lights, Alina realized that their expedition was about to take an unexpected and potentially dangerous turn. The true tests of humanity's ingenuity and the aliens' newfound respect for Earth were yet to come. The Kraken awakens. The submersible's alarms blared as massive shapes emerged from the darkness below. Ambassador Alina Rodriguez felt her heart racing as she stared out the viewport, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. "What in the name of all that's holy?" Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka muttered, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and scientific fascination. Tentacles, each as thick as a redwood tree, writhed in the beams of the submersible's lights. They seemed to go on forever, disappearing into the murky depths below. Behind Alina, she could hear the alien delegates muttering in their own language, their translator devices temporarily forgotten in their shock. "Dr. Tanaka," Alina said, fighting to keep her voice steady, "what are we looking at?" The marine biologist shook his head, his fingers flying over the sensor controls. I'm not sure, Ambassador. The size, it's unprecedented. If I had to guess, I'd say we're dealing with some kind of colossal cephalopod, but nothing in our records even comes close to this scale." As if in response to his words, a massive eye came into view. It was easily the size of the submersible itself, its pupil contracting as it focused on them. The eye was followed by a beak that could have swallowed a whale whole. "By the cosmic core," Zartol breathed, pressing close to the viewport. "Your world truly is a realm of monsters." Alina felt a flash of indignation at the alien's words, but before she could respond, the creature attacked. Tentacles wrapped around the submersible, squeezing with terrifying strength. The hull groaned under the pressure, and warning lights flashed across every console. Hull integrity at 85% and dropping. One of the human crew members reported, her voice tense but professional. "We need to break free or we'll be crushed." "Options?" Alina demanded, looking around at both the human and alien faces. Dr. Tanaka spoke up, his voice shaky but determined. "We could try to shock it. The submersible's outer hull can generate an electrical field. It's designed as a defense against smaller predators, but it might be enough to make this thing let go." "Do it," Alina ordered. The crew sprang into action, rerouting power to the hull's electrical defense system. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a surge that made everyone's hair stand on end, the submersible lit up like a Christmas tree. The effect on the giant cephalopod was immediate and dramatic. Its tentacles spasmed, loosening their grip. The massive eye rolled back, and the creature began to retreat into the darkness. A cheer went up from the human crew, but Alina's relief was short-lived. The submersible, now free from the creature's grasp, began to spin wildly in the water. "Stabilizers are offline," the pilot reported, fighting with the controls. "And we're losing power. That electrical burst drained our reserves." Alina's mind raced. They were thousands of meters below the surface, with failing systems and an unknown monster that could return at any moment. She turned to the alien delegates, an idea forming. "Ambassador Zartol," she said urgently, "your ship's technology. Could it help us? Do you have any way to contact your vessel on the surface?" The alien seemed to hesitate for a moment, clearly conflicted about sharing advanced technology. But a look at the terror on its companions' faces seemed to make the decision easier. "We may have something that could help," Zartol admitted, reaching into a pouch on its suit. It pulled out a small crystalline device. "This is a quantum entanglement communicator. It should be able to reach the surface, regardless of depth or interference." Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened at the sight of the advanced technology, but Alina stayed focused on the task at hand. "Can you call for help? Ask your ship to send down some kind of rescue vessel." Zartol nodded, activating the device. A holographic display sprang to life, and the alien began speaking rapidly in its native language. After a tense minute of conversation, it turned back to Alina. "Our ship is dispatching a rescue pod," Zartol reported. "It should reach us in approximately 20 of your Earth minutes. Elena nodded gratefully, but her relief was interrupted by a shout from one of the crew members. "Contact!" the sensor operator yelled. Multiple large signatures approaching fast. The viewports darkened as not one, but three enormous cephalopods surrounded the submersible. Their tentacles intertwined, creating a living cage around the vessel. "They're communicating," Dr. Tanaka said in awe, watching the creatures' flash patterns across their skin. "This is incredible. They're demonstrating a level of intelligence and cooperation we've never seen in cephalopods before." "That's fascinating, Doctor," Elena said tightly, "but how do we stop them from tearing us apart?" As if in answer to her question, one of the alien delegates stepped forward. It was not Tsar Toll, but a quieter member of the group who had largely remained in the background until now. "I may be able to help," it said, its voice surprisingly deep and resonant. "My species has some experience with telepathic communication. If these creatures are as intelligent as your scientist suggests, I might be able to establish contact." Elena exchanged a glance with Dr. Tanaka, who shrugged helplessly. At this point, they had little to lose. "Do it," Elena said. The alien closed its large eyes and seemed to concentrate intensely. For several long minutes, nothing appeared to happen. The cephalopods continued to swarm around the submersible, their tentacles probing for weaknesses in the hull. Then suddenly, they stopped. The largest of the creatures moved directly in front of the main viewport, its enormous eye focusing intently on the occupants of the submersible. A series of complex color patterns rippled across its skin. The alien telepath's eyes snapped open. "They're curious," it reported. "They've never encountered beings from the surface before. They thought we might be some new kind of prey, but now they recognize us as intelligent creatures." Elena stepped forward, placing her hand on the viewport near the creature's eye. "Can you convey our apologies for disturbing their realm, and ask if they'll allow us safe passage back to the surface?" The alien nodded and closed its eyes again. The giant cephalopod's skin flickered with more color patterns, and slowly, the living cage of tentacles began to loosen. Elena smiled. "I'm glad you can appreciate it, Ambassador. I hope our unexpected adventure hasn't soured your view of Earth." Tsar Toll was quiet for a moment before responding. "Quite the contrary, Ambassador Rodriguez. Our experience in your oceans has significantly altered our perception of your world and your species." There was something in the alien's tone that made Elena uneasy. "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" she asked cautiously. "That," Tsar Toll replied, "is what my colleagues and I have been discussing. Your world, which we initially dismissed as unremarkable, has proven to be one of the most dangerous and diverse planets we have ever encountered. And your species," the alien paused, seeming to choose its words carefully, "your adaptability, your resilience in the face of such a challenging environment. It is concerning to some members of the Galactic Confederation." Elena frowned. "Concerning? In what way?" Before Tsar Toll could answer, they were interrupted by the arrival of a stern-looking human in a crisp military uniform. "Ambassador Rodriguez," he said, "I'm Admiral Chen of the United Earth Navy. I need to speak with you urgently." Elena excused herself from Tsar Toll and followed the Admiral to a private cabin. As soon as the door closed behind them, Admiral Chen's professional demeanor cracked slightly, revealing a mix of excitement and worry. "Ambassador, I'd just been briefed on your encounter in the Mariana Trench," he said. "Is it true? A previously unknown species of intelligent cephalopods?" Elena nodded. "As far as we can tell, yes. They demonstrated complex social behaviors and the ability to communicate with our alien telepath." The Admiral ran a hand through his short-cropped hair. "This changes everything. The security implications alone. We need to establish a permanent presence in the deep ocean immediately. Research stations, maybe even military outposts." "Admiral," Elena cut in, "we gave our word that we wouldn't return to their territory without invitation. We need to respect their wishes." Admiral Chen's expression hardened. With all due respect, Ambassador, we can't allow an unknown intelligent species to remain unmonitored in Earth's oceans, especially not with alien powers now aware of their existence. Elena felt a headache building behind her eyes. The aliens are another concern, she said. Ambassador Zar Tol hinted that some members of their confederation are troubled by what they've learned about Earth and humanity. The Admiral's frown deepened. Troubled how? I'm not sure, Elena admitted, but I got the impression they see us as a potential threat. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. All the more reason to strengthen our position. I'll be recommending to the Security Council that we fast-track our deep-sea and space exploration programs. If the galaxy sees us as a force to be reckoned with, we need to make sure we can back that up. As Elena left the meeting with Admiral Chen, her mind was whirling with the implications of their conversation. She made her way back to the deck, needing some fresh air to clear her head. To her surprise, she found Dr. Tanaka engaged in an animated discussion with one of the alien delegates, the telepath who had communicated with the deep-sea cephalopods. "Ah, Ambassador," Dr. Tanaka called out as he saw her approach. "You must hear this." Zarlon here was just explaining some fascinating aspects of the cephalopod's communication. The alien telepath nodded enthusiastically. Their mental patterns are unlike anything I've encountered before. The depth and complexity of their thoughts, it's quite remarkable. Elena listened as the two excitedly discussed the implications of this discovery, their earlier trepidation seemingly forgotten in the face of new scientific frontiers. She couldn't help but smile, despite her concerns. This, she thought, was humanity at its best, curious, adaptable, eager to learn and understand. Her reverie was interrupted by a commotion near the ship's communications array. One of the crew members rushed up to her, looking flustered. "Ambassador, we're receiving urgent messages from capitals all over the world. News of the deep-sea encounter has leaked, and it's causing a global sensation. Governments, scientific institutions, and media outlets are all clamoring for information." Elena sighed. She had hoped to have more time to prepare for this, but it seemed events were quickly spiraling beyond her control. "All right," she said, straightening her jacket. "Set up a secure line to the UN Secretary-General. We need to coordinate our response before this situation gets any more out of hand." As she followed the crew member to the communications room, Elena caught sight of Zar Tol watching her from across the deck. The alien's expression was unreadable, but Elena could sense the weight of unspoken concerns and calculations in its gaze. The encounter in the depths had changed everything, not just for Earth, but for humanity's place in the galactic community. As she prepared to address the leaders of her world, Elena knew that the decisions made in the coming days would shape the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. The ship's engines hummed to life, turning the vessel back towards land. As the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. The ocean had revealed only a fraction of its secrets, and the true test of humanity's adaptability was only just beginning. A new galactic order. 5 years had passed since the fateful deep-sea expedition that changed humanity's place in the galaxy. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood at the observation deck of the United Earth Embassy on Galactix Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Confederation. The alien cityscape stretched out before her, a dizzying array of impossible architectures and technologies that still took her breath away. A soft chime announced a visitor. Elena turned to see Zar Tol entering. Its iridescent skin, now familiar after years of negotiations and diplomatic exchanges. "Ambassador Rodriguez," Zar Tol greeted her warmly. "I thought I might find you here. The council session is about to begin." Elena nodded, taking a deep breath to steady her nerves. "Thank you, Zar Tol. I suppose it's time to face the music." As they walked together towards the Grand Council chamber, Elena reflected on the tumultuous years that had followed their undersea adventure. The revelation of Earth's deep-sea inhabitants had sent shockwaves through both human and alien societies. On Earth, a global effort had been launched to establish communication with the intelligent cephalopods, led by Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka and a team of xenobiologists and linguists. Progress had been slow but steady, with the deep-sea dwellers cautiously engaging in cultural exchange while firmly maintaining the boundaries of their territory. In the wider galaxy, Earth's status had been abruptly elevated from a backwater curiosity to a world of significant interest. The diversity and extremity of Earth's biosphere, combined with humanity's demonstrated ability to thrive in such a challenging environment, had made many alien species reassess their initial judgments. Some saw Earth as a potential wellspring of biological and technological innovations. Others viewed it as a possible threat, a crucible that might produce a species capable of upsetting the delicate balance of galactic politics. Today's council session would determine the course of Earth's future in the galactic community. As they entered the Grand Council chamber, Alina was once again struck by its scale and grandeur. Representatives from thousands of worlds filled the tiered seating, their forms as diverse as the planets they hailed from. At the center stood the speaker's podium, where Alina would soon make her case for Earth's full membership in the Galactic Confederation. Zar-Tol gave Alina's shoulder a reassuring squeeze before moving to join the other senior diplomats. Alina took her place at the Earth delegation's desk, nodding to her team of advisors and experts. The chamber fell silent as the council arbiter, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, floated to the center of the room. This session of the Grand Council is now in session. The arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber. We are here to consider the petition of planet Earth for full membership in the Galactic Confederation. Ambassador Alina Rodriguez will present Earth's case. Taking a deep breath, Alina rose and made her way to the speaker's podium. As she looked out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds, she felt the weight of her entire species' future on her shoulders. Esteemed members of the Grand Council, Alina began, her voice steady and clear. 5 years ago, many of you viewed Earth as an unremarkable world, barely worth notice in the vast expanse of the galaxy. Today, I stand before you to argue that Earth and humanity have not only earned their place among the stars, but have much to offer the Galactic Confederation. She paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. In the years since our initial contact, we have shown ourselves to be more than simply survivors of a challenging world. We are innovators, diplomats, and explorers. Our unique evolutionary history has gifted us with an unparalleled adaptability and problem-solving capability. Alina gestured to a holographic display that sprang to life beside her, showing images of recent human achievements. We have made significant strides in sustainable ecosystem management, drawing on our experiences with Earth's diverse biomes. Our scientists have developed new materials inspired by deep-sea organisms, capable of withstanding extreme pressures and temperatures. And our ongoing dialogue with the sentient cephalopods of our oceans has opened up new avenues of nonverbal and empathic communication. Murmurs rippled through the chamber as the assembled delegates discussed these developments among themselves. Alina pressed on, her voice growing more passionate. But perhaps our greatest strength lies not in our technological achievements, but in our perspective. We come from a world of extremes, where cooperation and competition have shaped our evolution. We understand, better than most, the delicate balance required for diverse species to coexist and thrive. She looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many delegates as she could. In a galaxy of wonders, Earth may seem harsh and unforgiving, but it is precisely this crucible that has forged humanity into a species uniquely qualified to bridge the gaps between different worlds and cultures. We offer not just our resources and innovations, but our understanding of unity and diversity, of finding common ground in the face of adversity. As Alina concluded her speech, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, some supportive, others skeptical. The arbiter called for order, and then the debate began in earnest. For hours, representatives from various worlds presented arguments for and against Earth's membership. Some praised humanity's rapid adaptation to galactic society, while others expressed concern about their potential for aggression and expansion. Finally, as the debate wound down, Zartul approached the speaker's podium. The chamber fell silent, recognizing the weight that the words of Earth's first alien contact would carry. "Esteemed colleagues," Zartul began, its voice resonant and clear. "5 years ago, I stood on the surface of Earth, looking out at an ocean I thought I understood. I was wrong. Earth taught all of us, the danger of assumptions and the value of open-mindedness." The alien diplomat paused, its large eyes scanning the chamber. "Yes, humanity comes from a world that many of us would consider dangerous. Yes, they have the potential to be a disruptive force in our carefully balanced galactic society. But I put it to you that this is exactly why we need them." Zartul's words sparked a new wave of murmurs through the chamber. The Galactic Confederation has stood for millennia, but we have also grown complacent. Humanity, with its unique perspective and adaptability, offers us a chance to see our universe with fresh eyes. They challenge us to be better, to think differently, to adapt and grow. As Zartul concluded its speech, Alina felt a surge of gratitude towards the alien who had become not just a diplomatic ally, but a friend. The arbiter called for a vote, and Alina held her breath as the results were tallied. After what felt like an eternity, the arbiter's voice rang out through the chamber. By a majority decision, the petition of planet Earth for full membership in the Galactic Confederation is approved. The chamber erupted in a mixture of cheers, applause, and a few disgruntled murmurs. Alina felt a wave of relief and excitement wash over her. They had done it. Earth was now a full member of the galactic community. As the session concluded and delegates began to file out, Alina found herself surrounded by well-wishers and curious aliens eager to establish ties with Earth. In the midst of the crowd, she caught sight of Zartul, who gave her a subtle nod of congratulations. Later, as Alina stood once again at the observation deck, looking out at the alien cityscape, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From the depths of Earth's oceans to the heights of galactic politics, humanity had proven its worth and earned its place among the stars. The path ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and conflicts to navigate. But as she watched the twin suns of Galactic's prime setting on the horizon, Alina felt a surge of optimism. Humanity had faced the trials of its harsh homeworld and emerged stronger for it. Now, with the entire galaxy as their new frontier, there was no challenge they couldn't overcome, no mystery they couldn't unravel. The age of Earth as an isolated world was over. The era of humanity as a galactic civilization had just begun. And Alina Rodriguez, along with billions of her fellow humans, was ready to face whatever wonders and dangers the universe had in store. As the first stars began to twinkle in the alien sky, Alina smiled. The greatest adventure in human history was only just beginning.